Hello and welcome to Narayana IAS. I'm Pratik, your faculty for daily news analysis. Students, in today's DNA session, we'll be focusing on three topics from the Hindu and the Indian Express. So, let me quickly take you through the topics that we'll be discussing in today's DNA session. Make sure you're fresh, make sure you have a pen and paper to jot down the points, and make sure that you understand all these three topics because these topics are very important for the UPSC examination. Make sure that you have a holistic understanding of these three topics. I will make sure that I'll explain in such a way that you understand each and every point that I explain in these three topics. Right, friends? So, the three topics that we'll be discussing today is the first one is right to die with dignity. Now, here the Ministry of Health has issued guidelines with respect to withdrawing life support from terminally ill patients. So, in this article, we'll understand about the concept of euthanasia, the constitutional and the legal provisions, and whether the government of India or our country should allow a person to end his life, right to die with dignity. The second topic that we'll be discussing is about the anti-defection law. Now, given that there are so many issues and loopholes in the implementation of anti-defection law, the author suggests that we have to strengthen the anti-defection law in order to make our democracy more robust. The third article talks about the concept of carbon credits. Now, given the COP Conference of Parties meeting in Azerbaijan, understanding this concept is very important because there's a high chance or possibility that one of the major outcomes of the meeting would be with respect to carbon credits. So, these are the three topics that we'll be discussing in today's DNA session. So, let us start with the first topic, the right to die with dignity. So, in this concept, we'll understand about the term euthanasia, Article 21, the legal and the constitutional provision, right? And you may mark this topic under GS paper 2. In GS paper 2, we have issues relating to development and management of social sector services relating to health. So, this is very important. Right? So, it is very important that whenever you read the current affairs topic, you should be in a position to align the current affairs topic with the syllabus. So, make sure you're in a position to, understand how to link the topics with the syllabus. This is very important, right? Now, this was a question asked in the year 2021. See, what is the position of right to property in India? Whether it's a legal right, fundamental right. Similar such a question can be asked with respect to a right to die with dignity. So there can be a question whether the right to die with dignity is a constitutional right, legal right, fundamental right, neither fundamental nor legal. That's the reason understanding such topics is very important for both prelims as well as mains, right? Now, I just want to ask you a question. Have you seen this movie, Guzarish, starring Hrithik Roshan and Aishwarya Rai? Or let's say Munna Bhai MBBS? So, I hope you remember the character of Hrithik Roshan in the movie Guzarish. Or a patient who was in a vegetative state in Munna Bhai MBBS, right? So, that person was, was not conscious, right? Then Munna Bhai, Sanjay Dutt, right? So he in a way treats that patient, gives him love, and then this person comes to life. Remember that character? So this article talks about those two characters, right? So what is the context? The context is that the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, they have issued guidelines. Guidelines with respect to what? With respect to withdrawing the life support. Withdrawing the life support from terminally ill patients. Now, what do you mean by terminally ill patients? They are these patients or those patients who are suffering through a disease, right? Terminally ill patients, patients who are suffering through a disease and they are going through unimaginable pain. The doctors have said that no matter what treatment you give him, this person won't survive. These people are known as terminally ill patients. So the government has, issued guidelines, draft guidelines stating that people who are in this state, the life can be taken away. It's just a guideline. It's not a law. It's just a guideline. And this, the government, that is the ministry, has done based on the Supreme Court orders in the year 2018 and 13. We'll understand what is the Supreme Court order, but the context is the government of India now is coming to terms that if a person is critically ill, going through unimaginable pain, social pain, economic pain, right? That person or his relative, guardian, have the right to end his life. This is the context. Now we'll understand the term euthanasia, which means in simple words, euthanasia is an act of ending a person's life. Again, the person is going through unimaginable pain. His disease has no cure, no remedy, right? A lot of money is being spent, right? There's emotional distress. He is going through emotional distress. His family is going through emotional distress, and there is no remedy, no solution, no hope. Now, here, euthanasia refers to an act of ending that person's life. This is referred to as euthanasia. Euthanasia is of two types: active euthanasia and passive euthanasia. What is active euthanasia? You inject a lethal dose, let's say for example a chemical which can take away a person's life. So you are injecting a person, which patient? Terminally ill patient, with a chemical which is disastrous, which can take away a person's life. So you're injecting, there's an external remedy or external thing done in order to take away the person's life. This is known as active euthanasia. Passive euthanasia, let's say a person is on a ventilator. Person is on a ventilator. Now here we are withdrawing or taking away the ventilator. Ventilator is just a life support, right? Now here we are removing that life support. Why? Because no matter what treatment you give him, that person won't survive. This is known as passive euthanasia. Now, very, very important for you to remember is that in India, active euthanasia is illegal. It is illegal, and passive euthanasia is legal in our country. Please remember these facts. Active euthanasia illegal, passive legal. Now, what are the guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health? The Ministry of Health said that we are going to set up primary and secondary medical boards. Now, these medical boards will consist of doctors, of course, doctors. Now, these doctors will say whether giving treatment to a person would be beneficial or not. So, these team of doctors will decide whether continuing treatment would be beneficial or not. Now, these doctors will be nominated by the district chief medical officer. They have the veto power. They'll decide if the life has to be taken away or it shouldn't be taken away. So they can confirm or reject the opinion of the primary medical boards. These are the guidelines that you need to remember. But important is to understand the concept, the overarching concept of euthanasia. I hope you understood the guidelines. Now, let us try to understand the Supreme Court observation. I hope you understand. In context, we discussed the 2018 and 2020-22 Supreme Court judgment. The Supreme Court in the year 2011, Aruna Shambhak versus Union of India. What the Supreme Court of India say? That life-sustaining treatment would legally be withheld or withdrawn, even from people without decision making capacity, which means this decision of the Supreme Court allowed for withdrawing life support. The 2018 Common Cause versus Union of India recognized that right to die with dignity is a fundamental right under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, which means, what is Article 21? Right to life and personal liberty. So here the Supreme Court said that if a person has the right to live with the dignity, he also has a right to die with dignity. A very, very important observation by the Supreme Court, or judgment given by the Supreme Court. And this is under Article 21. Refer to this keyword: legalized the use of advanced medical directives or living will. What is living will? For example, let's say a person will be undergoing a treatment. Let's say a person has cancer. Now he will be undergoing a treatment. Now he will write a will stating that in future during my treatment, if the medicines are not working on me, then please end my life. This before undergoing a treatment. In case a person goes into coma during treatment, then based on the living will, life support can be taken away. 2018. 2020-23 judgment of the Supreme Court only simplified the process, which means now if a person feels that if any of the treatment won't help him, then during such case, life support can be taken away or that person can be made to die. So these are some of the very, very important Supreme Court observation or judgments. I hope you understood all the three judgments. Very, very important. In the answer, make sure you mention about this as well as this. Why? Because here the Supreme Court for the first time allowed for euthanasia. Secondly, in the year 18, Supreme Court said that right to die with dignity is a fundamental right. So very, very important to mention such important judgment of the Supreme Court in the answer. Now, again, this is what we discussed, that right to die with dignity will be interpreted as or will be interpreted under Article 21. Article 21 is right to life and personal liberty. Now here, the second one is the legal provision. See, Section 306 and 309 of the IPC. 306 pertains to abatement of suicide and 309 attempted suicide. So this is this and this is this. What is abatement to suicide? For example, when you torture a person, when you're encouraging or pushing a person to end his life, this is known as abatement to suicide. You're forcing him, you're mentally torturing that person, right? And that person finally has, let's say hanged himself. This is known as attempt or abatement of suicide. You are encouraging someone to end his life. You're torturing him, beating him, abusing him. That is abatement to suicide. Attempted suicide is when a person, right, by his own, decides to end his life. Let's say he commits suicide. Now here, in the year 2017, the Supreme Court decriminalized attempted suicide, that is section 309, which means the Supreme Court has taken a compassionate approach. See, whenever a person ends his life, he is not doing it intentionally or willingly. He is not happy to end his own life. Let's say he's going through financial problem, mental problem, social problem, family problem, professional problem, health problem. No one willingly or intentionally likes to end their life. Only as a last option to get rid of all the frustration and the trauma and the pressure, a person decides to end his life. That's the reason the Supreme Court adopted a compassionate approach, and so the Supreme Court decriminalized not abatement of suicide but attempted suicide. I hope you understood the difference between the constitutional provision article 21 and the legal provision or the legal dimension. Now here it is important to understand which of the countries follow this trend of euthanasia. So if you see Netherlands, Belgium and Switzerland, all European countries and developed countries. Now these countries allow for both active as well as passive euthanasia. India allows for only passive and not active euthanasia. Second, see, now right to die with dignity is not universally accepted as a human right, not universally recognized as human right. But now India's approach to passive euthanasia, that is, India has legalized passive euthanasia. Now, India's decision, the 2011 Aruna Shanbok case, it aligns with international standards, right? Which means India is now allowing passive euthanasia, which means there's a universal consensus or universal acceptance that right to die with dignity should be considered as a human right. As of now, it's not a universally accepted human right, but there is a growing acceptance. There's a growing acceptance of considering right to die with dignity as human right. And India is somehow or gradually aligning with the international trend. Getting it? Okay. Now, what are the challenges? See, as of now, we do not have a law. Law, you mean a legislation talking about euthanasia or withdrawing life support from terminally ill patients. As of now, we only have the guidelines as given by the Supreme Court, right? So, because of the absence of a legislation, it is creating legal ambiguities, that is confusion, one thing. So we do not, or there is no definition, or there is no law regulating the concept of euthanasia. People can misuse it. That's the reason making a law is very, very important. Second, potential for misuse and ethical violation. Now, in the light of absence of a law, there is no law. There's a high chance that euthanasia can be misused. People can end the life of another person, or let's say relative, under the guise of euthanasia. So we need to have a very strong oversight mechanism so as to ensure that the practice of euthanasia is not misused, and there has to be strict adherence to ethical principles. Third is cultural and social resistance. See, euthanasia remains a very, very sensitive topic. Why? Because it is attached. See, life or living a life is considered to be a a very precious thing. It has a religious connotation. So allowing euthanasia is going to some way hurt the religious sentiments. Why? Because India is a religious country, you know that, right? So given the importance of life in our culture, allowing a concept like euthanasia wherein a life of a person can be taken away can hurt religious sentiments. So this is another point that we need to take into consideration. So yeah, this was all about the first article. I hope you understood the first article, that is right to die with dignity. So what we understood in the first article, the guidelines issued by Ministry of Health. Then we understood the concept of euthanasia, active euthanasia, passive euthanasia. Then we understood the guidelines as issued by the Ministry of Health. Then we understood the Supreme Court observation 2011, 18 and 2022, Aruna Shambho case, right? Then we understood the constitution and the legal provisions, Article 21, Section 306 and Section 309. then we understood some of the challenges associated with euthanasia in our country. So I hope, and then we also understood the international examples, Netherlands, Belgium, right? So we have understood each and every dimension that is required to be understood in this topic, right students? Okay. So it's time to focus on the second topic, right? Now, what is the title? Sharpen the anti-defection law, that is to strengthen the anti-defection. So in this article, we'll understand about various dimensions associated with anti-defection law, and also we'll understand about the 10th schedule. Again, this topic is important for both prelims as well as mains. So for mains, in GS paper 2, we have a subtopic in the name. What is the topic? Indian Constitution. Historical underpinnings, evolution, features, amendments and significant features of the Indian Constitution, right? So, anti-defection law is an amendment to the Indian Constitution. Simple, right? So again, it is very, very important, as I told you, to align or link the topic with the syllabus. So your ultimate objective is to ensure that each and every subtopic under GS 1, 2, 3, 4 option papers is covered comprehensively. For that, linking the topics with the syllabus is of utmost importance, right? Now, again, a PYQ question asked in the year 2014. Which one of the following schedules of the Constitution of India contains provisions regarding anti-defection? So once we understand this topic, please attempt this question. Very, very simple question. Once you understand, you can easily answer this particular question, right? So what is the context? The context is we have a law, anti-defection law. The author is saying that there are challenges with respect to this law, which means the law is being misused and we have to strengthen the law. This is the context. Now we'll understand one by one all the dimensions with respect to anti-defection law. So let us try to understand. Now let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen or read in the paper that the members of one political party are changing sides, switching to other political party? You must say, we have seen this so many times. Every month or every now and then, you get a news item in the newspaper talking about members of one political party, let's say members of BJP joining Congress, or members of joining Congress, or members of Congress joining BJP. The later part happens more. The members of Congress joining BJP. So, I hope you must have come across many such situations, right? Or read many times in the paper. This is known as defection. What is defection? Let's say here we have Congress and we have BJP. So the members of Congress joining BJP or the members of BJP joining Congress. This phenomena is defined as defection, right? Now, what is the problem with defection? The problem with defection is it leads to political instability. Let me just explain you with the help of an example. Let's say this is a state legislative assembly, Vidhan Sabha assembly. This assembly has 500 seats, which means to form a government, you need how many members? 251. 50 plus majority. Now, let's say Congress has got 280 seats. BJP have got 220 seats, which means they have won 280 seats and the BJP have won 220 seats. Now, you tell me who should form the government or who will form the government? Congress. because Congress has more than majority, 280 seats. Now let's say BJP, they've got a lot of money, right? Ambani, Adani, they keep on giving money to BJP. Now what BJP does is, they'll try to buy few members of the Congress. Let's say this BJP, the leader of BJP, will say, will try to bribe, let's say, 50 members from Congress. They'll say, come to our political party, we'll pay you money in crores. We'll give you ministerial berths, we'll make you ministers. So what BJP does is, the BJP, they attract members of Congress. And let's say, out of 280, 50 Congress members agrees to join BJP. They must have got money, or let's say they were promised ministerial berths, home minister, finance minister, irrigation minister, agriculture minister, etc. Now here you see, now the strength of Congress is reduced to how much? 230, right? 50 minus, and now here add this 50 to 220, that is 270. Now who has the majority? BJP. 270, 230. Which means the opposition political parties will always strive to lure, that is attract or bribe the members of the government. Now here the Congress government is gone, BJP government comes to power. Now let's say again after 1 year, the Congress will try to bribe the members of BJP. This goes on and on and on, which means there is no stability in the government. And if there is no stability, no foreign company will invest in your country. And so, to prevent defections, to prevent such defections, we have anti-defection law. So, to prevent defection, we made a law named anti-defection. We have to stop defections, anti-defection law. What is the purpose? The purpose is to make the democracy robust. How? By ensuring that members are not switching sides. So, if you switch sides, you will be disqualified. Purpose is to bring stability, establish stability in the government. This is the purpose. 1985, via 52nd CAA, anti-defection law was brought into practice, was brought into effect. 10th schedule was added in the Indian Constitution, thereby detailing all the provisions with respect to anti-defection law. So, 52nd CA 1985, 10th schedule, objective to bring stability in the government. These are the key terms that you need to remember for your prelims as well as mains. Very, very important when it comes to anti-defection law. Got it? Now, here we'll understand the grounds for disqualification. So, 1, 2, 3 and 4. These are the 4 grounds. The first ground, voluntarily giving up the membership. Let's say I am a member of the Congress. I say I do not want to be a member of Congress. I want to join BJP. Which means now my membership will be disqualified. I won't be a part of the, let's say, Vidhan Sabha or Parliament. This is applicable to both Parliament as well as the state legislative assembly. So, if I give up membership of one political party and join another, my membership will be gone. Second, let's say for example, there is a bill in the Parliament and the party leader tells me to vote in favor of the bill, right? And I do not vote in favor of the bill. I vote opposite, or I vote against the bill. What I am doing? I am voting contrary to the direction given by the party leader. Second case of disqualification. If I am voting against the direction given by the party leader. Second. Third, if an independent candidate joins political party after winning the election. He won the election as an independent candidate. Now, he joins some other political party, disqualified. Nominated member, let's say for example Sachin Tendulkar, Javed Akhtar, Rekha, all these personalities, Mary Kom, they are nominated members. So if the nominated member join the political party after 6 months, the key term is after 6 months, they will be disqualified. Please remember these 4 grounds for disqualification. Voluntarily giving up, second is voting against the direction, third, independent member joining, nominated member joining after 6 months. Alright, so these are the 4 grounds for disqualification. Now, let's say for example, I have voted against the party direction and the party has not taken decision against me. I voted against the party direction. The party has ignored my decision or my action. In such case, I won't be disqualified. Right? So this is this point. Right? So I hope 1, 2, 3, 4 are the grounds for disqualification. Power to disqualify. Now, who has the power to disqualify? Please remember, it is a presiding officer, which means in the Lok Sabha, Speaker, and in the Rajya Sabha, the Chairman. Which means Speaker and Chairman have the power to disqualify the members. Right? Now, let's say for example, if there's a complaint against the presiding officer, let's say there's a resolution that seeks to remove the presiding officer. In such a case, the member elected by that house will preside and decide upon the disqualification question. Getting it? And there is no time limit, which means, let's say for example, a disqualification petition is pending before the speaker. There is no time limit. The speaker can take decisions immediately. He might take a week, he might take a month, he might take 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. There is no time limit within which the presiding officer, that is speaker or chairman, have to take the decision. Now, this is a very, very important judgment of the Supreme Court, the Navam Rabia judgment. What did the Supreme Court say? That whenever resolution is pending in the House, resolution seeking the removal of speaker, in such a case, the speaker cannot decide upon the disqualification petition. There is a resolution. The resolution wants the speaker to be removed. Now, during such case, the speaker cannot decide with respect to disqualification case. Very, very important judgment of the Supreme Court. Because Article 179 allows the members of the House to pass a resolution to the effect of removal of speaker. But there are certain exceptions. We have understood 4 grounds for disqualification. Now let us try to understand exceptions. Which are the exceptions? First one is merger. Let's say 2/3 of the members, 2/3 of the elected members of a political party merged with other political party. With respect to, let's say it happened with the case of Maharashtra. 2/3 of the elected members of one political party joins or merges with other political party. Now, in this case, the 2/3 members who merge with other political party and the remaining members of this political party, they won't be exempted. They won't be exempted. This 2/3, until 2003 it was 1/3. Until 2003 it was 1/3, which means if 1/3 of the members, they merge with other political party. But in the year 2003, via 91st CAA 2003, this or an amendment was done with respect to changing the number from 1/3 to 2/3. One. Second, before 2003, the law also allowed for split in political party. If one-third of the members decide to split, they were exempted. But now in the year 2003, this provision for split was done away with, which means now there is no provision with respect to split. Third, let's say a member of the house gets appointed as, or let's say elected as speaker. Now when the speaker or chairman, they resign from the political party, they are exempted. When the presiding officer, they resign from their political party, they are exempted. Why? Because the job of speaker and chairman is to be an umpire. They are umpires. Their decision is to take neutral decision. They cannot be biased. They cannot be biased. That's the reason if they resign from the political party, the speaker or chairman, they are exempted. These are the three exemptions. So 4 grounds for disqualification, 3 grounds as exemptions. Please remember these points. Scope for judicial review. Now, the speaker, let's say for example, let's say I've given an example. This example will be helpful to understand a point in the next slide as well. Let's say we have BJP and Congress, and the BJP is in government. The BJP political party is in government. Now, the speaker will obviously be from the party in power. The speaker will always be of the party in power, that is BJP. Let's say, let's take the example of Gujarat. In Gujarat, we have BJP government. The speaker will be from the party in power, that is BJP. Now, let's say a member of Congress wants to defect to BJP. A member of Congress wants to defect to BJP. Now, here he is actually defecting, so he should be disqualified. Why? Because he's switching sides, which means he should be disqualified. Now, the speaker is from BJP. If he'll be disqualified, the number of BJP will be the same. BJP wants to increase the number. So, what the speaker will do is, the speaker won't take any action. The speaker is of the BJP, will listen to BJP. The speaker should ideally decide neutral, be unbiased, should not be biased. But here, because of how the politics or the way politics is played out in our country, the speaker more often than not have always been biased, unfortunately. Bitter truth. So here, the speaker of this BJP political party, speaker is not of any political party. Speaker is of the house, not of the political party. So this speaker will not take any action. Let's say now a BJP member wants to join Congress. Now he will take the decision within 1 hour, immediately. Which means the decision of speaker can also be biased. That's the reason Supreme Court in the Quixote Holon case 1992 held that the decision of speaker will be subject to judicial review, which means the decision of the speaker can be challenged. The decision of speaker can be challenged, which means if the Supreme Court finds out that the decision of speaker was mala fide, that is taken on the basis of personal interest against the constitution, then the court will declare the decision of the speaker as unconstitutional, which means the decision of the presiding officer is subject to judicial review. It can be challenged. Simple. Now let us try to understand the advantages of the law, and then we'll understand the challenges, right? The first advantage is it prevents political instability. Now, in the first slide, I discuss one example. Let's say 500 members, right? 280 and 220. Now, because of this law, if a member switches sides, he'll be disqualified. So, when a member knows If I change my side, I'll be disqualified. He won't change the side. It prevents political instability. There will be political stability first. Second, upholds party discipline. See, it is very important that the political party has to ensure discipline from the members of that political party. See, for the sustenance of the party, for the sustenance of the decisions of the political party, there has to be party discipline, which means the members of the political party should abide by the decisions taken by their leader. Now, you can also see this from a critical angle. Yes, of course. Because see, when you go to vote on the basis of which political party you want to vote. Which means on the basis of political party's agenda, you decide to vote for which political party. That's the reason upholding party discipline is important. Third, safeguarding public mandate. So the people have voted for BJP. The people have not voted for Congress. Which means here it is very, very important that every member of the political party should abide by the decision of the political whip or the leader of the political party. In short, the most biggest advantage is it leads to political stability. There will be no collapse of the government. This is the biggest advantage. The second, the challenges. First one is paragraph 4 on party mergers. We discussed an exemption that when two-thirds of the political members, if they're merging with other political party, they're exempted. But the law is silent or absent with respect to the fact that is it talking about the national political party or regional political party? Right. See, we have Congress. Congress is a national political party, as well as we have Congress in many states, almost all the states. So the point is, this provision is talking about the merger of national political party or the regional level of political party, which means let's say we have the parliament and parliament we have the Congress members, right? Now let's say we have the case of Karnataka where there is a Congress government. So this two-third, is it talking of the Congress party in the state of Karnataka? That is the elected members of Congress in Karnataka or the elected members of Congress in Parliament? We do not know. The law is silent. The law is absent. First challenge. Second, undermining representative and parliamentary democracy. See, actually, when you go to vote, you see the candidates in your constituency. There are, let's say, 5 candidates. You decide that which candidate to vote, which means based on his record, based on his work experience, you decide which candidate to vote. But in India, we usually do not follow this. We see or people see if they like Modi or Rahul Gandhi. Based on their, liking of Modi or let's say Rahul Gandhi, they decide which political party to vote. See, in your area, if there's a problem, Modi or Rahul Gandhi are not going to come to resolve your problem. It is a local candidate that will come to solve your problem. That's the reason when you vote, you should be wise. You should see who the local candidate is. This is very, very important for ensuring that people are getting the bestest of services. Are you getting my point? So, which means, see here, when we vote a candidate, the candidate should vote as per his conscience, as per his understanding. But the elected members cannot vote as per their conscience. They have to vote as what the political party leader has to say. So it is undermining the representative form of our democracy. Which means the elected members have no freedom, as in to vote in favor of the bill or vote against the bill. Second point. Third, controversial role of the speaker. Now here, in the previous slide, I helped you with an example to understand how speaker or the decision of a speaker can be biased or partial. Third point. So I already have explained this particular point in the previous slide with the help of an example. So this is the example I was referring to. Yeah, exactly here. Yes, this one. So I already explained this particular point. Next, lack of recognition for party splits. Now see, the law has allowed for merger of political party into another, right? Which means if two-thirds of the members merge into other political party, that is allowed. But the law does not allow split. What is the logic or rationale behind allowing merger and not allowing split? What is the logic? What is the rationale? There is no logic rationale. This is another challenge. Which means you are allowing for wholesale defection when two-thirds of the members merge with other political party, but you are against individual defection or retail defection. This is another challenge. Now, I hope you understood the advantages, you understood the challenges. Now we'll understand the solution. What should be the solution? For solution, you have to refer the recommendations of these committees. First one is Dinesh Goswami committee. What did the committee say? First, that the disqualification should only be limited when the government is in danger, which means the political whip or the whip that the political party or the direction that the political party should give should only be applicable when the government is in danger during the no confidence motion, which means the party whip should not be issued for all things. It should only be issued when the government is in danger. For example, with respect to voting for or against bill, for or against motion, there should be no party whip. Party whip should only be issued when the government is in danger, that is, when no confidence motion is issued. First. Second, now here Dinesh Goswami committee recommended that instead of speaker, the president and governor should take decisions with respect to anti-defection case, anti-defection petition. Speaker should not take the decision. It is the president and governor who should be taking the decision. This is what Dinesh Goswami committee recommended. Second is Law Commission in the year 1999. The Law Commission said that the provision with respect to splits and mergers should be deleted. Now we have a provision for merger, but do not have a provision for split. So the provision for split and merger should be deleted. Second, pre-poll electoral fronts, that is, before the elections, right, you have coalitions, alliances that should be considered as a political party. For example, in Maharashtra, we have Shiv Sena, Congress, and NCP. This is a MVA, alliance. Now here, this committee said that this pre-poll alliance should be considered as one political party and not three political parties. And this point is the same as this of the first point. Election Commission. Now, Election Commission said that, again, what Dinesh Goswami committee said, that the president and governor should take the decision. But the president and governor should take the decision only on the advice of Election Commission. They should not take the decision independently. They should take the decision post the recommendation of the Election Commission of India. And next is the recommendation given by this committee. What it say? That the ones who disqualify or who are disqualified, they should be disqualified for the remaining term, which means, let's say, 2015 to 20. Now, in the year 2017, a member has defected. So, he should be disqualified for the remaining 3 years. This is what this committee recommended. And this should be the way forward. Another way forward should be that Parliament should make a law, thereby fixing a time frame within which disqualification petition should be decided. There is no time frame, there should be a time frame. So this is the way forward. I hope students understood each and every dimension with respect to anti-defection. So what did we understand? We understood what is defection. We understood what is anti-defection law. 52nd C in 1985, 10th schedule, grounds for disqualification, 4 grounds. Then exemptions, 3 grounds, power to decide disqualification petition. Then we discussed the Supreme Court judgments, the Nabam Rabia judgment, Kihoto Holan judgment, right? Then we discuss the advantages. Then we discuss the challenges, followed by way forward. This is the second topic. I hope you understood the second topic. Now you try to attempt the PYQ asked in the year 2014. It's a very simple question. Now let's focus on the third topic, right? Chalo. Now the title of the third topic is fair trade. Now in this topic, the most important concept is to understand the concept of carbon credits, right? Again, you can map this for GS paper 3. You can map this under GS paper 2. Why? Because this is a decision of the government of India. As well as you can mark this under GS paper 3 under environmental pollution and degradation, right? So see, a PYQ was asked on carbon credits. Again, once we understand the topic, you should come back to this question to see if you're in a position to understand or attempt this question. Trust me, if you understand the topic, you'll be in a position, 100% position to attempt this question asked in the year 2011. Right? Let's understand what is the context. Now, there's a meeting to be held, the 29th Conference of Parties relating to the environment. Where? In Baku. Where is Baku? In Azerbaijan. It's your homework to identify this country in your map. So many countries like India, they are focusing on accelerating the transition to carbon markets. Which means they want the world to focus on carbon markets. Why? What is the purpose? The purpose is to reduce the emissions in the atmosphere. Right? That is, there is a target given to each and every country. To meet that target, countries like India want the world to focus on carbon markets. So we'll understand what about this term. Now, what is carbon markets? Let me just explain you this concept with the help of an example. Let's say we have a USA. We have USA and we have India. Two countries. Let's say there's a company in USA, Apple. There's a company in India, Tata. Right? Now this country has set a target to reduce the emissions of carbon. The target is 30% reduction of carbon emissions. Again, this country has also kept a target of 30%. But this country or this company has reduced the carbon emissions to 50%, more than the target. And this company has reduced the carbon emissions to only 10%, which means the target was to reduce carbon emissions by 30%, but they have only reduced to 10%. This company has reduced more than the target. They have reduced 50% carbon emissions. Now this company has been successful in reducing the carbon emissions. Now this company has failed to achieve the target. Now here, this company or this Tata, as this company has been successful to reduce the carbon emissions more than the target, they will get carbon credits. Credits will be credited in their account. Now this country, India, will buy the credits from this company. This is the simple explanation of carbon market. Market. What do you do in a market? What you do in a market? You trade. What you trade? Carbon. So there are platforms that allow buying and selling of carbon credits. I explained you how. Second, carbon credits, they are certificates. Now these certificates represent a reduction of 1 metric ton of CO2. This point is important for you, prelims. Please remember this point. Mug up this point, right? So this carbon credit, it represents what? They are certificates. They are certificates and they represent what? 1 metric ton of CO2. So this term is very, very important for your prelims. Please mug up this fact point. Now, credits are typically generated by projects that actively reduce or avoid emissions, which means how this company has, earned credits, because in the manufacturing of mobile, this company has relied on renewable sources, clean sources, which means this company has relied on renewable sources. Let's say hydroelectricity, wind electricity. So here they have earned the credits by actively reducing or avoiding emissions. So if you rely on hydroelectricity or wind electricity, you are reducing the emissions. For example, let's say you are planting trees, reforestation, afforestation. So by planting more and more trees, you are actually reducing the emission or trapping the carbon from the atmosphere. So if you initiate such steps, such action, you will get carbon credits. And what is the purpose? The purpose is to incentivize emission reduction. So I tell my company in India that you please focus on renewable sector. You focus on renewable sector so that you get carbon credits, you earn carbon credits and sell it in the carbon market and get more money. So let's say Tata, what it does is it relies on renewable sectors. It plants more and more of trees, right? It stops using coal electricity, thermal electricity. It is relying on hydroelectricity, wind and electricity, or let's say nuclear electricity, nuclear power. It is reducing emissions. It gets carbon credits. They sell it in the market and get money. The purpose is to push the companies to use renewable sources or clean sources. I hope you understood what is carbon market. Simple. Now, the concept of carbon market or carbon credit was conceptualized in the year 1997 in the Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol. Now here what happens is it allows the industrialized countries, that is the developed countries, to invest in the developing countries. So here in the Kyoto Protocol, the developed countries, they invest in the developing countries like India. So USA or Germany is investing in India. Now Germany is investing in India, which means the responsibility to reduce emission is lying or is on developed countries like Germany, France, UK, US, etc. They are investing in developing countries and getting carbon credits. This is under Kyoto Protocol. But it had some issues. As a reason we focus on Paris Agreement. Here the responsibility was only on the developed countries and not developing countries. But in Paris Agreement says that no, the developed country as well as developing country both have the responsibility to reduce carbon emissions. Simple. Now here, in this, only the developed country like Germany, France could get carbon credits. In Paris Agreement, both the developed as well as the developing country like India both can, earn carbon credits by focusing on projects which are relying on renewable energy, or let's say clean source of energy. Simple. This is the difference between Kyoto Protocol and Paris Agreement. Responsibility is on the shoulders of both developed and developing. Here the responsibility is on here the responsibility is on developed countries. Here it's on developed as well as developing countries. Now, which are the types of carbon markets? There are two types of carbon markets. The first one is compliance markets. The second one is voluntary markets. So I have a question. Srivigna Domati, she asks, which judgment of Supreme Court legalized passive euthanasia? See, it is the Aruna Shonbok case of 2011 that in a way legalized passive euthanasia in our country. Right? Okay. Now, what is this compliance market? Which means here the countries have to comply by the rules and by the norms, which means, let's say, for example, if a country is given a target to reduce carbon emissions, then that country has to ensure that target has to be met. This is known as compliance. For example, this happens in the developed countries. In developed countries, the country, that government will ensure that all the companies running in their country are complying by the target or by the rules. And what is the rule? To reduce carbon emission. See, it is legally mandated markets where entities must meet emission limits. They have to meet emission limits, else they will be penalized, they will be punished. So, if you see here, structured compliance markets like the European Union, EU emission trading system, right? So, this is the concept in the in the European Union, and this is in the California cap and trade. So, European Union with the ETS model and California with the cap and trade model have ensured that the companies are complying with this emission limit, which means the compliance in the developed countries is very, very strong. The developing countries, now developing countries, they do not have money. See, if you have to switch from the fossil fuels to renewable sources, you need money. You need money for technology. Now here, the developing countries like India can get international funding and should comply with the emission limit. But what we see is in developed countries like European Union, or let's say the Western countries, the compliance mechanism is very strong, very rigid. But in the developing countries like India, the compliance mechanism is not as strong as in the developed countries. So this is voluntary markets. Now this, what is it? It's unregulated markets that we see in the developing countries, right? Where companies buy credits to voluntarily offset emissions. Here, the companies in the developing countries, right? They by themselves try to get carbon credits. There is no rule. There is a rule, but the rule is not strict, stringent. So, corporations use voluntary markets to enhance sustainability profiles and align with consumer demand. Developing countries, project based. As I told you, developed countries, it's very, very stringent. In developing countries, you see that the companies who are well off or economically well off or who have decent profits, they invest in the renewable sector. Right. Now see, what is India's target? The commitment is to achieve 50% non-fossil energy by 2030 and net zero emission by 2030. What is net zero emission? Which means the amount of emissions that you are emitting, the same amount you are absorbing. Let's say by planting more trees. This is known as net zero emission. So if you are, let's say, emitting X quantity of carbon emission, you absorb the same quantity of carbon emission. This is known as net zero emissions by 2070. Until 2030, it is 50% non-fossil energy. Now, this is what you need to know. PAT, greenhouse gas emission standards and forestry and land use. Now, under PAT, which means you perform and you earn credits. Energy efficiency program encouraging industries to what? To adopt efficient technologies, which means it is incentivizing the companies to adopt new technology, sophisticated technology, thereby saving or reducing the emissions and gaining carbon credits. The second is steel and cement. Now these are the sectors which are energy intensive. The greenhouse emissions are emitted more from these energy intensive industries. Now, standards in sectors like steel and cement are expected to form the basis of a formal carbon market. So, we are considering these industries as basis when we formulate or understand or frame rules for carbon markets or how the trade in the carbon market will be carried out. Next is large afforestation project. What is afforestation? Planting more and more number of trees. This is undertaken by the Ministry of Environment. Again, what is the purpose? Plant more trees and generate carbon credits. Simple. These are the initiatives undertaken by India to reduce the emissions and gain carbon credits. This is the third topic of the day. So I hope students you understood each and every topic, right? Now it's time to discuss few questions, to understand if you understood all the questions. The first question. Now I want you to pause the video, read the question and please comment the answer in the comment box. The first one. The 2018 Supreme Court judgment in Common Case versus Union of India is significant. Why? Why it is significant? We have just seen why. Because the Supreme Court has recognized that to die with dignity is a fundamental right under Article 21. Simple. So, if you see, the first one is the correct answer. Simple. The second one. Which of the following correctly describes the concept of compliance market in carbon trading? So, first one, markets where trading is optional, no, incorrect. Legally mandated markets with emission limits for entities imposing penalties for non, yes, this is correct. So let's also read the third option. Systems where emission reductions are traded voluntarily, no. Markets where international organizations provide free carbon, no. Option B is the correct answer for question number 2. Now what is the question? Examine the anti-defection law in India, highlighting its advantages and challenges. Discuss recommendations for its reform as suggested by various committees. This is the question. Very, very simple question. Examine anti-defection law. Write what is anti-defection law. Write the 52nd CA 1985 10th schedule in the introduction. Now, it is asking to highlight the advantages and challenges. So, in the body, start with advantages. It prevents political instability, right? So, rather you can also, in brief, very, very brief, you can highlight few points on the grounds for disqualification. Remember, voluntarily giving up, then abstaining or voting against the direction, independent member, nominate member, just like let's say 3 to 4 lines. Then start with the advantages, then start with the challenges. Now here in the advantages and challenges, especially in the challenges, mention about the Kyoto Holohon judgment and the Nabam Rabia judgment, right? Discuss recommendations for its reform as suggested by various committees. So here recommendations mention Dinesh Goswami Committee, Law Commission, Election Commission, as well as the Committee for the Reform of the Constitution. Simple, very simple question. So make sure you are writing the answer, writing on a piece of paper, and then posting it in the comment box. So that's the end of today's DNA session. I hope students you understood each and every topic. If you have not understood any topic, please mention the comment box. We'll try to answer your query. Right? Make sure that you are regular listening to the DNA videos. By doing this, you'll make sure by the end of 1 year, you have holistic understanding of all the topics important for the UPSC examination. So make sure you're regular, make sure you're committed, and make sure you hit the like, share, and subscribe option. Right? So I'll call it a wrap. Thank you so much for watching. Views 44. Average views ज़्यादा गया है 7 minutes.